Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Katie Dietzman, the principal of Robinson High School, and I've got David Rosinski here. Do you want to give him your title?
Yeah, I'm the Director of Safety here at Robinson ISD.
And we wanted to get on and show you guys or explain just a couple of things that we have coming at us this year. First of all, we want to make sure that you are aware that Meet the Teacher is on August 10th from 6:30 to 7:15. And Meet the Rockets is August 10th, 7:30 to 8 o'clock. So we would love to invite everyone out. It's always a fun kickoff to the school year, and you'll get to see all of our student athletes, drill team, cheerleaders, and band for the first time. We're also super excited about our house system at the high school. Last spring, we did our house rollouts with our house leaders, and those house leaders will actually be welcoming all of our younger Rockets into their houses the first couple of weeks of school. Mainly today, we wanted to make sure you guys are aware of a couple of changes in the student handbook. First of all, there was a change in state law very recently this summer regarding students caught with a vaping device. And now, whereas in the past we were allowed discretion as far as disciplinary consequences, that has become automatic DAP. So just please talk with your students about making sure if they are vaping, those devices are not brought to school because again, that does mean automatic DAP. And we also wanted to talk about our change in cell phone policy. During the spring semester, last 9 weeks, we piloted a program. We want to start with the why behind it. You guys know cell phones are a huge distraction to our kids these days, and in trying to protect instructional interruptions with social media and alerts and things like that, we have opted to go to a no cell phones in class. In the past, some teachers would take them up, some teachers would not, and it was kind of inconsistent for kids. So what we've decided to go to is there will be a cell phone holder in each classroom. The cell phone holders are clear so students can see them, they can know that their cell phone is safe, and they are hanging in each classroom of the high school. Before we piloted this last year, we did speak with a local school district who implemented this fully last school year, and we were told it was one of the best decisions that they had made. It had really helped with engagement, with instruction, and kids having conversations in class and things like that. So we do want to be clear that kids will have access to their phones during passing periods, before school, after school, and at lunch. And one of our main hopes is this will improve consistency across all classrooms. Kids will know what to expect. And we have had a couple of questions from parents. First of all, what do you do if you have an emergency during the day and you need to get in touch with your student? You are more than welcome to call the front office, and we are more than happy to get your student out of class. We have had some situations in the past where maybe a parent has texted a student some disturbing information, maybe the loss of a loved one or something like that. And that can be very upsetting to the student to get that via text message in the middle of class. It can also upset other students around the student that receives that information. So again, we are happy to get that student out of class, and we definitely are not trying to take away access to your student in the case of emergencies at home or something like that. The other concern we've heard is what happens in the case of a school-wide emergency, and that's the reason that we've had Mr. Rosinski join us today. So he's going to speak to that.
Yes, we have had some concerns from parents about their kids not having their cell phones in case there was an emergency. And we want to be really clear that the cell phones are still in that room with those students. They have access to them if they need them in the event of an emergency. But actually our procedures, prior to this policy, was that in an event of an emergency, cell phones would go in pockets and they would not be used at all, because we don't want cell phones being used in an emergency, because our systems and our notification systems and communication systems are tied in many ways to Wi-Fi and to the cell service. And if we have 700 to 800 students and staff getting on cell phones in the event of an emergency, we can't communicate with each other. So it's actually a hindrance for them to be on their phones texting their parents or texting their friends or making videos during an emergency. So that was already a policy that they couldn't use those during an emergency. We have staff and personnel within each classroom that is trained and knows exactly what to do and how to notify emergency responders. If we've got hundreds of kids making 911 calls and they're all convoluted and they're tying up the system, that is a problem during an emergency. Know that the staff that is with your child is trained. They know exactly what to do, where to go, and how to communicate. When the emergency has been rectified and we've got into a situation where everyone is safe, we will allow your student to have their cell phone and to communicate with you. That's an important part of reunification that we use in the event of an emergency. So they will still have access to that once everything has been settled and is safe. For you, in the event of an emergency, you need to make sure you stay near your devices so we can communicate directly with you. But in our processes here during an emergency, we have to be able to communicate. Police, first responders, they all need to be able to communicate with us, and if we tie up our system with all of those text messages and phone calls, it will hinder our efforts. And so actually, the best thing is for them not to have access. And again, they're in the room with them, and when we were to reunify or to evacuate, they would have those cell phones.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate you listening today.